Good morning, everyone. On this wonderful February day in Binghamton, New York, guess what it's doing? Yes, you guessed it right. It's snowing again. My husband is tearing his hair out because he's the one that goes out and shovels. But I know spring is coming. This is Yvonne DeVita. You're watching Smart Conversations, and I have a very special guest today. Her name is Mitali Deypurkaystha. Did I close? Was I close?
That was very good. That was very good.
Well, and let me say, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk a little bit about authority and what that means. I wonder what that means to you. How do you determine someone has authority? Well, our conversation is going to help you with that today. And Mitali has some surprises in store for us. Mitali, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Yvonne. Thank you.
Let me tell people a little bit more about you because, and this is short, ladies and gentlemen, this woman is so fantastic. She's going to be doing a lot of big things and you're going to see her name everywhere. She's a ghostwriter and a business book expert, AKA the authority creator. She helps coaches, consultants turn into sought after experts in their field by becoming published authors within 90 days. Now, don't I tell you always to become the author of? She's ghostwritten 7 business books, making her clients over $5 million. And she's been featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. As someone who's needed coaching and mentoring for weight issues, addiction, mental health, business, and career, she has made it her life's mission to help coaches and consultants succeed. Her favorite book is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. You can get her free 5 steps to writing and publishing your business book on her site, thefreedommasterplan.com, and I will be sharing her links and all the wonderful things about her and how to connect with her in the blog posts and on YouTube. But Mitali, I only read a little bit. Are you like a 90-year-old woman and you just look really good?
Well, let's say dark skin doesn't crack. Maybe I am in my 90s. I don't know.
But when we met, I was really intrigued and impressed by your authority and the kinds of things that you talked about and the way that you approach everything. Talk a little bit about the whole authority and how do we determine someone has authority? That's a really good question.
Yeah, it is. I think I became fascinated by authority over the last 3 or 4 years while I was writing these business books as a ghostwriter for different clients. I'm also a copywriter, so I wasn't just writing books. I was writing sales pages, landing pages, emails, brochures, flyers, all kinds of things. But the one piece of content that was really making the biggest difference in someone's business was a book. And when I unraveled it, I realized it was more the way that books are seen. It's a form of written content that is set apart from all other kinds of written content. I think, we're saturated with content right now. You go online and there's blog posts, there's social media posts, there's everything there. And, I think as human beings, we tend to, anything there's a lot of, there's an abundance of, we tend to think, oh, cheap, every day, not all that important.
You're right.
But books are just seen as even though it's a written form of content, it's just elevated. If you have a website, it's like, well, yes, so does everybody else. Teenage children have websites nowadays. You have a social media profile, brilliant. 5-year-olds do as well. But how many people do you know who are a published author? So you're just set apart. And I started this journey 3 or 4 years ago, and I just started to realize that a book was the one piece of written content that I was creating for my clients that was making the overall biggest difference in not only the amount of money they were making, but also how they're seen by other people. As soon as they started to become published authors, then the invites started to come to speak at bigger stages and, collaborations with different companies and paid collaborations as well. it kind of opens up a door that is invisible until you actually do it, until you publish a book. And yeah, I mean, you raised a really good question. You know, what makes you see somebody as an authority? Ironically, it's all perception. It's not actually real.
Mhm.
My clients, it's not like, you know, I wrote a book for them and suddenly they were 10 times better at what they did.
Right, right.
They remained whatever. They were very good. I mean, I only, you know, I only work with people who are great. But it's not like they magically become even better just because they're suddenly now an authority because they're a published author. And yet they can now charge more, they're given more respect. A number of them are seen as thought leaders in their field.
Isn't
And
that,
they
I
weren't
mean,
looking
isn't that the seeing, being seen as a thought leader, and that gives you authority. And one of the things that you said that really struck me is something I've experienced, and I tell people all the time, is that everybody wants to write a book. I have never yet met anyone at a networking event that didn't say, "Oh yes, I do want to write a book." And when you actually write it, those people are now in awe of you because you did what they couldn't or didn't do. You wrote the book.
absolutely, absolutely. Because it's not easy. That's the thing. It's not easy. It's easy to write a blog post. It's easy to create a social media post. You know, it's easy to create a website or a flyer or you know, a sales page. Just pay a copywriter to do it. But a book, that's another thing altogether. You know, you either need to spend a lot of time and effort writing your book, or you need to have a lot of money and pay someone like me, a ghostwriter, to write your book for you. But even then it involves effort,
Yeah.
because it's not like I can, you know, I can write a book in a vacuum. I still need to spend time with that person, almost crawl into their brain a little bit and
Hmm.
really find out how they tick in order to create a book that's authentic to them. So it still involves a lot of effort from them. Um, and it is, I think I think a lot of people say to me, it's like, oh, but it's too hard. So I don't want to do it because it's so hard and so difficult. And I always say to them, so if I waved a magic wand, would you like it to be easier? And they went, yeah, that'd be amazing. If I could just write a book and, you know, in a few days and it's wonderful, that'd be amazing. I said, okay. And then I'm going to show my age now, Yvonne. But I always say to them, okay, well, do you remember the early noughties? Do you remember sort of 2001, 2002, when if you had a website, you were a big deal? Everyone's like, oh
Hmm.
my God, you have a website. And people used to just generate leads like magic then, because hardly anybody had websites. And they'd say, oh, yeah, yeah. Because normally I'm speaking to people roughly my age or not. And they say, oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that. And I'm like, well, what's it like now? Everyone has a website. There's no differentiation point, is there? They'll say yes. Like, so let me ask you the question again. Do you want it to be easy to write a book? Because then everybody would do it.
Hmm.
I'd hate to live in a world where writing a book becomes something that you now have to do just to be a business owner, just to keep up, that you have to do. That would be terrible. So, what I would say to anybody who feels overwhelmed at writing a book, be thankful for that. That feeling of overwhelm, that you think, oh my God, this is such a big project, I won't be able to do it. That's exactly what your competitors are thinking. But when your competitors are thinking it, they're just going to give up. And I hope you will say, no, I'm not going to give up.
Hmm.
I'm actually going to push through. That's
Yes.
what's going to set you apart.
Yes. And come and talk to Mitali, or come and talk to me. I mean, the ghostwriting is such, as you said, I mean, it's such a, a consuming thing, because you really do have to become better than best friends with that author, you to represent them. They're going to read what you write, and they're going to say yes or no. Correct.
It's yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's kind of one of the reasons, it's many reasons why I moved into coaching people to write their own books.
Mhm.
But one of the reasons was that it would take time. Sometimes I would end up needing to spend several weeks with somebody to really understand who they are.
Yeah.
And then there's a process of writing as well. So I would only be able to write maybe two, maximum three books a year.
Sure.
That's only two or three people I can help.
Sure.
But now that I've written, you know, 7 books, well, actually 8 books with the most recent book that I've written for me, which will be the first one with my name on it, I now have a structure in place. So I can now teach people to do it themselves, which means I can help exponentially more people.
Mhm.
I've had 5 people start in my program in January. They're due to publish their books towards the end of March. So if you think about it, that's 5 books. That's in 1 quarter of 2021. I've been able to help 5 people become published authors. That would have taken me 2 to 3 years to accomplish if I was writing the books for them as a ghostwriter. It is a
Exactly.
lot of effort. Yeah, I do think of it as crawling into someone's brain, and that's what you have to do, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, tell us about your newest book because it's going to be coming out soon. There's going to be a launch party, and I everybody needs to hear about it.
Well, thank you. Well, the book is called The Freedom Master Plan. It's my 8th book, but it is the first book with my name on it. So it's been a roller coaster. It's really made me
Mm.
understand what happens. I call it over the hump. So as a ghostwriter, you get the book to final manuscript and then you hand it over and that's your job done. And you don't really see what happens after that. I've never seen anything over the hump. And now as an author, I'm now seeing what it takes after the final manuscript. So going through the editing process, going through the promotions process. And it's good for me because it means I am experiencing this firsthand so I can help my students now when they go through the same thing. It won't be, oh, Mitali thinks she knows what she's talking about. It's going to be she definitely knows what she's talking about because she's been through it herself. So it's been very, very interesting. And the book, it's basically case study based. So what I've done is as I said, over the last few years, I've realized that a book is probably the most important piece of content that's made the biggest difference for my clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I tend to
Mhm.
find with a lot of people when I was researching this last year, a lot of people want to write books. You've already said you yet to meet somebody who doesn't want to write a book.
Exactly.
But there's 2 reasons that stop them. First of all, overwhelm. We've already discussed that. It's a very big project. And the second thing is a lot of people just are short-sighted when it comes to, but what will a book really do for me?
Yes.
What can it really
Mhm.
do? So what I decided to do is interview my 7 ghostwriting clients and ask them what they did with the book that I wrote them. So I pretty much got them to give me every single tip, tactic, strategy they used and put it into the Freedom Master Plan. And the reason why I call it the Freedom Master Plan is when you have a book, but you also know how to leverage the book correctly. In
Yes.
other words, you follow the tips and strategies
Mhm.
that my ex clients have used. You can gain freedom for a lot of the things that hold you down in business. One of the biggest issues I tend to find with a lot of coaches and consultants, entrepreneurs in general, is the feast and famine cycle.
Mhm.
So what they'll tend to do is they'll get loads of new business, but then they have to take themselves out of the business to do the servicing. And then they run out of money. Then they need to go back into lead generation. A lot of them don't really like the lead generation and sales aspects. They really hate sales calls and that kind of thing. But at the same time, sales, it's necessary if you're going to get clients.
Mhm.
And if you leverage a book correctly, you can gain freedom from doing, things like sales calls because people come to you pre-sold. You
Mhm.
can get the book to generate leads for you automatically. So you're not on that rat race of trying to generate leads all the time. You can gain freedom from a lot of the things that you don't like in your business. So you can concentrate on the stuff that you do like, which is doing the coaching or consulting. That's usually why people go into business themselves. They want to do more of what they're great at. But sadly, what they end up finding out when they start a business is they now need to learn all this other stuff that they didn't want to learn: sales, marketing, lead generation. No one tells them that.
Mhm.
They just kind of go, I didn't realize so much of my business is going to be focused on sales and lead generation. I
Yeah.
just want to do more of my coaching, of more
Mhm.
of my consulting. And
Mhm.
now I find myself I'm doing less of that than I did in a job. I should have just stayed in the job that I was in. And that's something I kept hearing again and again last year. And that's where the inspiration came to call it the Freedom Master Plan.
Mhm.
Because if you write a book and then follow the tips and strategies in the Freedom Master Plan, you can gain freedom from all the things you don't like in the business and position yourself as an authority.
Yes, there you go. I was going to say, let's get back to that because that is the result, and that is how you then do all these other things. And I tell
That's it.
people,
That's it.
yeah,
That's
I
it.
tell people all the time. So your book opens the door for webinars, workshops, masterminds, community building, and
Everything.
speaking. Talk about the speaking you can get from writing a book.
That's the huge one. There is, I mean, speech is power. Who said that? somebody famous said that, and it escapes my mind, but somebody said speech is power. And it's so true. The shortcut to gaining authority is speaking. You know, I remember a friend of mine telling me, if someone gives you a microphone, never push it away.
Yes, there you go.
Never push
And
it
you're
away.
so good at it too.
I invite you, Yvonne. In fact, I invite anybody listening to this to go on my Facebook profile and go and look at the very first lives that I did in September last year, where I'm literally shaking and sweating like you wouldn't believe. The only reason I'm this confident is I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it again and again. But the great reason is I'm being given opportunities. Guess why? Because of my book. You've given me this opportunity to speak to your viewers because I have an upcoming book. That's what a book does for you. It makes people go, oh, well, come to my show, come and stand on my stage. It tells you it's so much more difficult.
Because then, excuse me, the other person looks good. You're making me look good because I'm bringing this expert, this authority who's talking about books. And now people can say, hey, that Yvonne, she knows lots of good people.
Exactly. It becomes a mutual thing where it just works for everybody. But I always say a book is just, it's so newsworthy. I write a lot of press releases as well. And, you know, I don't really do it so much now. I now concentrate on helping people write their own books. But as a ghostwriter and a copywriter, I also did press releases for people. And I would have some clients who'd say, hey, can you write a press release about my, you know, my practice is 5 years old. And I'm going, whoop-de-doo. Wow, how is that newsworthy? It's like, it's wonderful for you, great milestone, 5 years, wonderful, happy for you. But to the rest of the world, they don't care.
Right.
But you have a book out, that's news, that's instantly newsworthy. And people want you on their shows, they want you on their stages, they want you on your podcast. And that's, you know, you speak and then people go, oh, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about in this particular niche or this particular sector. That's how you gain authority. And I want to say to all of your viewers, authority is something that you must decide you're going to be. A lot of people are waiting for it. So they're thinking, oh, I need to get this qualification, or I need to be in business for an extra year, or I need to be earning this amount of money. And they're kind of waiting for outside verification, I guess the word is, to be an authority. No one's going to give you that. You have to choose, I'm just going to be an authority. As I said a few minutes ago with my clients, they're very good at what they do, but they didn't suddenly become amazing just because they're now a published author. They were just as good as they were before, but now they can charge a lot more. They're seen as an authority. They're seen as a thought leader, all because they gave themselves permission to become authority by becoming a published author.
Yes, yes. And by taking that on the road, as I say, because a lot of people I talk to say, my question always is, why are you writing this book? Because if you're writing this book to become rich and famous, then I'm not the coach for you. Because rich and famous, that I don't know where that belongs. But it's the only way you become rich and famous is by hard work. And so when I ask them, why are you writing this book? So many say, well, I want to speak. I want to go out and take my message and my story to the world. I think I can help people with it. And that is a perfect reason to write a book.
It's a wonderful reason. And like, it's a shortcut. I'm not saying you can't be a speaker without being an author. I know a number of speakers who are now they're working backwards. They're now writing a book with me because I actually messaged them saying, why on earth don't you have a book? You're a great speaker. You're kind of doing things backwards, really. Most people write a book and leverage the book to get speaking gigs. As I said, being a published author opens doors for you. People see as an authority, and the book itself is newsworthy. So people want to put you on stages and put you in shows. But some people have managed to become a speaker without it. And I'm saying, why wouldn't you write a book? You reach so many more people.
Yes,
when
and
you have
then
a
it extends the message and the story and the.
Yeah.
So tell us more now about your book coming and your book launch. And I want to make sure we share all of that with everybody.
Okay, so my book is going to be out on the 12th of March and Friday, the 12th of March. And yeah, I'm having a Zoom book launch party because, oh, wow, it's been interesting. I mean, like I said, transitioning from a ghostwriter to, you know, an
Zoom
author.
launch party. Let me just repeat that, everybody. Zoom launch party. You will get all the details and you need to be there. And, you know, I want you to talk more about it, Mitali, but I usually walk away from my desk at 3 o'clock, but I'm coming back to be with Mitali
Bless
at
you.
this party.
I'm so happy that you are. I would love to see your face there, because you've been such a big supporter of mine. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to come. First of all, it's just going to be fun.
Yes.
You're going to see one very tired Mitali who's just been working nonstop for, 6 months, who's just finally letting loose and just saying, oh, I can relax now. The book is done. I've got a couple of really good friends, performers of mine. I've got a wonderful world-class magician who's performing on the night. And I've got a soul and jazz singer, again, world-class soul and jazz singer. So it's just a nice time. It's an hour and a half for you to just maybe pour yourself a glass of wine or maybe a cup of coffee, because I realize in the States it's during the day, it's evening in the UK, and just join me and just have fun. But from a serious point of view, it also gives you an idea of what these book launches are all about. Because when I originally was thinking about organizing a book launch, I was purely doing it just for I just want all my friends and fans and supporters just to bring them all together, and let's just have one night where we just celebrate that I finally completed this project. And then the gentleman who's organizing it, he came at it from a completely different angle that even I didn't know. And this is a gentleman who is actually going to create the audiobook version of my book, The Freedom Master. But that's not going to happen until the summer of this year.
Okay.
And I didn't realize he organizes these Zoom book party launches.
No.
Sorry, Zoom book
I
launch
need to hear
parties.
more about him sometime.
Yeah, I will do. He's been based in the UK, but I think he works with people all over the world. So what he said is like, yes, we're going to have a great time. It is absolutely going to be a party. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage people who haven't bought the book to buy the book and also what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage the people who've bought the book to leave reviews, because a lot of people buy a book, they think it's wonderful, but then life gets in the way and they forget to leave a review. And that's why you see some books on Amazon which have had a ton of sales and yet hardly any reviews, because people have just forgotten to leave a review. And the thing is, Amazon, the algorithm needs both. It needs sales, but it also needs reviews.
Right.
And I just never thought. That blew my mind. I was just thinking, let's just have a launch party, let's just have fun.
Oh,
But
no.
he's
See,
utilizing it.
interestingly, that's one of the things that I really push is the ask. Because authors don't like to do that. They're like, I don't want to ask. No, you do want to ask them, especially if you had a group of readers immediately. Not only that, but Mitali, I say, write the darn thing for them so they can see an example. And I'm not saying,
that's good.
Again, we're talking about helping people because they want to help you. But if you don't ask, you don't get.
You don't get. And the wonderful thing is, if you get someone like this guy Elliot, he can do it. Then you don't have to ask. That's a wonderful thing. And I would encourage people to come over just to see what these launch parties are like, because it's a new experience for me as well. As a ghostwriter, I wasn't the author, so I didn't have anything to do with launch parties. I'd already written the manuscript and I disappeared at that point. So this
Did
is
you not
all
attend any?
Sorry?
Did you not attend any launch parties?
I have attended them, but they were for my UK clients, they were in person
I was
because
going
it
to say
wasn't a
yes.
pandemic then. But this is now interesting, because what Elliot is now telling me is that even after the pandemic, he's going to insist that he does Zoom book launch parties.
Sure.
Because he's saying in person, you can only really get the people who live maybe 50 miles or so, or 50 kilometers around you. But with Zoom, you can attract people from all over the world. For example, you're attending. Now, I know you like me, Yvonne, but I'm pretty sure you're not able to jump on a plane and come all the way to Newcastle, UK, just for my book launch party. I'm sure you've got other things to do. You're a busy lady. But because it's on Zoom, you can just go, yeah, I'll pop over for an hour or so, not a problem. And Elliot's now, he's realized this is a brilliant business opportunity for authors. And what he now says is, after the pandemic is over, he's going to say, yeah, absolutely, have your own in-person book launch for your friends and family, a celebration, not a problem. But have your official one on Zoom, even after the pandemic, because it means everybody around the world who's got to know you can come over, celebrate what you've done, but also leave reviews, buy your book, do all these things that you need them to do. And you get someone like him to do it for you. So if you're worried about asking people, I'm not going to ask anybody. He's going to do it.
That's another important thing. And I think it also goes back to the authority, because when you let yourself recognize yourself as an authority, then you give yourself permission to bring on these people who can help you do things that I'd never heard of a Zoom launch party either. And it's like, there's someone who does this. And,
Yes.
so we need, as as business people and professionals, we need to say, well, where's the investment and should I be doing it? And if you're writing a book, this is brilliant.
This is just a huge advertising. It's just a few. It is. It's just a huge way of promoting and
Right,
advertising who you are and what you do,
right.
and what is. We haven't decided yet whether we're going to record and then place it all over social media, but we may even have the opportunity of live streaming it
Right.
into Facebook and YouTube. And so that's getting a much bigger market who don't even know me. So these, because obviously the people who are coming to my Zoom,
Mhm,
party
mhm.
are people that I know and your audience and, that kind of thing. But if it's live streamed, it can go out to people who've never even heard of me. But I go, oh, who's this lady? That book
Mhm.
sounds interesting. I think I should buy it. And then obviously once they read my book, then they realize that I've got a program that helps them write a book. And my book is just basically one big old lead generating tool. That's all it
Yes,
is.
and
No,
there it is. She put
but
it out there. But
exactly.
and the real power is that you are an authority, and so you took that authority and you turned it into an opportunity, and that's how you build your business.
It is. And I want to say it again and again. You stop thinking that you have to be a better coach or consultant or speaker.
Mhm.
If you've already got paying clients, or if you're a speaker and you're getting paying gigs, you're good enough already. As I've said before, my clients didn't magically become 10 times better just because they're a published author. And yet they were charging 10 times more, but they
Mhm.
weren't, they weren't 10 times better than what they were before. So it's the mindset thing. You've got to stop looking at these people who are ahead of you and assume that they're better than you. They're usually not. They've just given themselves
Absolutely.
permission to be an authority. That's
It,
all
it,
they've done.
and on top of that, um, well, old people like me forget things sometimes.
Bless you.
No, I mean, absolutely, that people have to learn and understand that a book is a powerful tool. I promote something called book as business card. And what I tell people is, if you're able to, you give those books away, because
Oh, give them a
no one's
absolutely.
going to lose it. It's not going to fall in the garbage. It's not going to be lost in someone's coat pocket.
It is. I love that concept, book as a business card. I say numerous times in my book, in the Freedom Mastermind, I say the book is not the business. If you're wanting to retire
Yeah.
on the money that you make from the book, good luck to you. You must be better than J.K. Rowling. That's all I can say. Good luck to you. It doesn't happen. You said in my introduction, you said that I generated $5 million in total, over $5 million
Mhm.
for my previous clients, not in book sales. If
Mhm.
you add up all the book sales, I doubt they made more than $10,000 altogether. What I'm talking about is the additional business revenue. They've created programs, courses that they now sell. One lady even ended up getting a tie-in with she's a financial planner, and a very well-known accountancy software firm found out about her book. Somebody in there in HR read her book and said, "Oh, we should get this lady to be our spokesperson." She gets paid a $250,000 a year to turn up to 6 times a year just to do a speech on a stage. But
Yeah.
because she's their
See?
official
See?
spokesperson, she gets paid for not really doing all that much. It's all of that money. It's not the sales of the book. And yeah, that's something
Mhm.
that people need to understand, because a lot of people kind of think, oh, but if I sell it as a Kindle, I can only really charge people $2.99. How much money I'm gonna have to sell loads? Who cares? I
Well,
would give
and
it away. I
I
would
mean,
give it
that's one
away.
of the, yeah, one of the secrets is, um, you sell it for 2.99, for gosh sakes. And guess what? That's such an easy price. 10
Yeah, people
times
just
more
get it.
people are going to buy it than if you're offering it for 9.99 or 12.99 or
Yeah,
whatever, because they want the deal, and they want,
absolutely.
and in the end, They want you. And so we're coming to the end of our time, and I want you absolutely, because you are just, you're gonna be all over, and I'm gonna be like, I knew her when. So
I love that.
let's once more talk about the launch, talk about the book, and then I'll make sure all of the information people need for it is in the blog post.
Not a problem. So the book is called The Freedom Master Plan. It's going to be out on Friday, 12th of March. And I'm having a Zoom book launch party where everyone's invited to it. It's at 7 p.m. GMT, which I believe is 2 p.m. EST and 11 a.m. PST, I think. America's a very
Say the
big
times
country. You guys
again.
have more than one time zone. All I can cope with is one time zone because that's just the UK.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the time zones again, because it looked to me like it was in the evening, but maybe I was looking at the UK time zone.
Yeah, it's GM, so it's 7 p.m. GMT in the UK, but I
Okay.
believe EST, so the East Coast, I believe is 5 hours behind me. So
Yes,
that would make it 2 p.m.
that's
And I think the
perfect.
West Coast PST,
I'm
I
inviting everybody. We're going to have a good time. This is
oh,
going to be
please come
fun.
over. It'd be so much fun. It won't be one of those boring ones where literally just going through the book again and again. I mean, there will be you'll have, oh, that's the other thing. There'll be a Q&A session. So if anybody wants to ask me questions about the book or what they can do for themselves, you know, just put me on the spot. I'm pretty good on the spot. So ask me questions. But yeah, just come and enjoy the night and just see how these launches go. Because if you do write a book, you might want to also do a Zoom book launch, because
Yes.
like I said, I started off as it was just a fun party, but now I'm thinking, wow, this is a good business opportunity as well.
So now that we're at the end, I want people to understand that I just gave you a big opportunity here, everybody. A great big opportunity to take your authority to that next step, that next level, and build something bigger and wonderful with Mitali, with me, with whomever. But your first your first job, everybody, is to go to the Zoom launch party. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I can't wait as well.
So thank you, thank you, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for introducing us to the Zoom launch party idea. But also, I knew when I was on your Facebook page and watched all those videos and just got to know you a little bit, I knew that you were an authority that I wanted to tap into, because everybody, listen to me. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. You don't know everything. You know, meet people, talk to people, and help other people succeed. That is what Mitali's all about. And I will see you at the launch party.
Thank you so much, Ivana. I'm so looking forward to seeing your face there.